Well, hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to Fridays with Sandy. That's Sandy Kreisberg, the head of HBSGuru.com. He is in the house. And with him is a candidate from New Delhi, India, Ronak, who has a 326 GRE and graduated actually in the testing in India for IIMs. Tested in the top 5% of people in his country. He got his first job with Honda Cars India, spent a year and a half in their R&D department, and he now works for ZS Associates as an analyst, working primarily in the pharmaceutical business. His target schools, NCOD, London Business School, Chicago Booth, and Northwestern Kellogg. What do you make of our 25-year-old candidate, Sandy?
Well, I'm impressed. There's an interesting, I believe he's a strong candidate for certainly INSEAD and LBS. Wouldn't you agree, John?
Yeah.
Just given their numbers, they're a little easier to get into.
Yeah. And the 326 GRE, incidentally, is 1 point above the class average at Chicago Booth and 1 point below the class average at Kellogg.
Yeah, we're calling that in line with those schools. Yes.
But the issue is Ronak is an Indian from India with a mechanical engineering degree, where we know there are a lot of people in those elite applicant pools who have very high scores. So that's
Ronak, what can you tell us? This is important. What can you tell us about people at your current job at ZS Associates India who apply to business school? And then tell us quickly what ZS Associates India is.
So to the degree that I know, most of the people who went to business school have around 4 to 6 years of experience at ZS, and they were in the basically in the stream which I am. I am working as a decision analyst, so they were just the decision analyst.
4 to 6 years, that's a lot.
Yeah,
you mean
that's what.
2 to 4 or?
So the one who went to INSEAD, he was with like around 5 or 6 years of experience, and so that's the experience.
Doesn't INSEAD run older?
Yes, typically a year and a half, 2 years older than many of the U.S. schools.
Yeah. People in U.S. schools usually have 2-3 years experience before they apply. INSEAD might be like 4 or 5. It's on the higher side of that. So that's why they're older. Okay. And compared to that guy, where do you stand?
So I am quite new in ZS compared to him. I will be completing 2 years in April this year. So
that's okay. It's the total work experience between Honda and ZS, which I have as almost 3 years and 3.25 years, right?
Yes, exactly.
And when you apply, it'll be when you matriculate, you will have 4 years experience.
Yep. By the time I join
you're right
business school.
there.
Yes.
I think you're on the money in terms of age. I think you're on the money in terms of experience. Could we just go through the numbers again? What your GPA was 7.41 out of 10 at an NIT. Do you have any sense of your class standing?
I would say like in top 1/3, it's not very high.
Okay, so that's a boo-boo.
Yes.
And then do we have a standardized test score? Did I miss that someplace?
Yeah, it's 326 GRE. So that's a point, like I said, a point above Chicago Booth's class average and a point below Kellogg's class average.
Okay, so the standardized testing is no problem. Your only boo-boo is your GPA, which was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And since then, he's had 2 highly selective jobs with well-known companies, really. Honda and ZS Associates.
Yeah. Okay. John, I think INSEAD and LBS are going to be likely for this guy, right? With that history, those stats.
I would think so. And the other thing about Ronick is that he's not doing the usual IT software job at IT companies. He's
Good
worked for a
point.
major global manufacturing company and now a global management consulting firm, which also takes him a bit out of that very tough pool where so many male Indian engineers are.
Yeah, it's a distinguishing fact. So I think he's good there. I think Ed Booth and Kellogg, boy, they just have to. Well, hey, Ronak, here's a question for you. Why should they take you?
So the unique selling point for me would be having experience in two different sectors, I would say. Working for a major automobile manufacturer and then working for a consultancy firm. So I think that would be my unique selling point.
Good. How could you parlay that into a goal statement? Because I think you've got a goal statement that comes at. Didn't you say you want to be a consultant in agriculture?
So no, I think my short-term goal is to join an MBB firm. And
sure,
in long term,
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So in long term, I want to set up my own business, preferably a consultancy. And I'm looking at the sectors which are not yet, loaded with data-driven consultancy firms. So agriculture in India in one such sector, which I think will be huge in near future.
You might be right, and that might be a good actual decision. John, does that make sense in the world of business school admissions, given that it's a total break from anything he's done, and business schools kind of like to keep the ball rolling in the same direction?
Well, I think his short-term goal works, and that's what you're going to be more concerned about.
Yeah.
So he basically wants to, move into MBB from the MBA program. And
no problem. Hey, finish this sentence. Like, here's a way to start your essay. Okay, my long-term goal is, and that could mean A or B. Let's hear you finish that.
My long-term goal is to set up my own consultancy in a sector in a new sector which is still not optimized by the data.
I would say my long-term goal is to return to my home country and set up a consultancy that serves that works in the underserved areas or something.
Yeah, underserved is the magic word there. Yeah.
Okay.
Underserved areas such as blah and blah. Okay. They'll wink at that and they'll say, okay, I'm with you. Now tell me how you're going to get there, And then your next sentence is, immediately after earning my MBA, my plan is to work for a major strategy firm such as, the ones everybody knows. Okay.
Yep.
And then what do you say after that?
Okay, so I want to gain experience there, gain leadership position, and want to learn about other aspects of business, client management, finances, all that stuff.
Here's another $10 tip. I seem to have given you a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Of the big consulting firms, Bain, BCG, McKinsey, my bet is those firms themselves have areas that deal with things you're interested in. What you should do is research those firms.
Okay.
I say this every week. One of the great places to look in completing your business school application is the McKinsey website. There's a ton of stuff there. And if you can say, like a good job for me after business school would be to join McKinsey and hopefully have opportunities there to work in their, agriculture group or their blog group or their blog group.
Yeah.
Then everything makes sense.
And you don't have to, that's not what you have to do, meaning you don't necessarily have to do that, but you should do that in applying and telling your story.
Yeah, you plan to do it anyway, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, everything works. You don't even have to lie. It fits your goals. It's what you're going to do. Yeah. It's what many people do. It's stuff that the business schools say, this guy is, really a regular guy, which is what they want. Unbeknownst.
Okay, Sandy, I want to ask you a question about Ronick plans to take the GMAT. So he has a GRE score that's in line for the schools to which he's applying. He thinks he could do better on the GMAT. Should he take it?
You should take whatever test you think you can do better on.
Yep.
Now, that's hard to figure out, okay? But some people have a proclivity for one test versus the other.
But I guess the question is, should he sit on his 326, which is right in line for Kellogg in Chicago, or because he's an Indian engineer, should he go for either a higher score on the GRE or the GMAT?
Well, John, let me ask you a question. How much would he have to improve to make a difference?
Well, I think if you take the GMAT, I would like to see from you nothing less than a 730, and I would prefer to see a 740. And if you take the GRE again, because after all, you already took it once, and I think if you take it a second time, you'll leverage the practice that you had in the first test better than going to the GMAT. I think you could increase that score by 3 points, and that would be really good.
Do you think a 740 would make a difference?
Only if, for whatever reason, admissions doesn't recognize Ronick as a different Indian engineer from the others. If they understand that, with given his Honda and ZS experience,
well, okay, Ronick, you're going to make them understand that too. That's a major piece of advice. Okay, really define yourself.
Got it.
Hey, guys, I'm not one of those engineers. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. It's just you don't want to be competing against all of them with 780 GMATs.
Oh, yes. Yep.
That's not the issue, but okay. That would do it. I think you got a lot going for you. Your background is like the car stuff is good, don't you think, John?
Really good.
Yeah,
really
business schools, like a lot of their cases deal with car companies.
Yeah.
And, they would think, boy, it would be great to have someone who, and not only did you work for a car company, it's not like you were part of their, managing their investment fund. You were really, you were nuts and bolts, so to speak. You were really
designing airbags for cars.
Yeah, doesn't get more.
And then at ZS, he's working for pharmaceutical clients, another major global industry.
Yeah, so your experience is very powerful, and I would highlight that.
Okay, so what are his chances at Chicago, Booth, and Kellogg?
Well, let me ask you, Ronick, how many people do you know who went to Chicago, Booth, and Kellogg? Aren't you like them?
Honestly, I don't know anyone who went to Chicago or Kellogg. Actually, on that note, like founders of ZS were from Kellogg.
Yeah. Okay, I think your chances are good. Those schools admit, well, Booth admits 23%, Kellogg admits 20%. I think you've got a lot going for you. You've got some great experience. What you want to do is falls into do-gooder work, but it's smart do-gooder work. It evolves out of what you've done. You could make a great case for how those schools could help you. You should structure your application by saying, these are my reach goals. I want to be involved in and blah, 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 blah. Here's how the Booth experience could help me, or particularly the Kellogg experience could help me. John, I'm saying this guy's more Kellogg. What do you think?
Totally agree. I think your odds at Kellogg are much higher than they are at Chicago Booth, maybe by 20 percentage points. And here's why I think that. Number one, you already work for a consulting firm that happens to be globally headquartered in Evanston, Illinois. That is a big thing, and they're loaded with Kellogg MBAs. You'll stand that anyway. Also, Kellogg likes GREs. I know you might want to take the GMAT. Chicago Booth does prefer the GMAT, incidentally. It's one of the few schools, regardless of what they say. Of course, they accept GREs as well, but they're hung up on quant scores, and they really prefer the GMAT, even though they won't tell you that. They were one of the last schools in the United States to accept the GRE. Okay. I think Kellogg is your place, and I think you would love it there, and they would love you.
Yeah, I agree. Also, yeah, Kellogg's more fun. Booth is eat your spinach. They're both great experiences, although Kellogg is easier. You have more fun. It'll do you just as good. You know, why sleep on a bed of nails?
And NCR and London are fantastic choices as well, and we think you have a really good shot there.
Yeah, okay, John. Now let's get this. This is your super expertise. If this guy wants to do you want to wind up in the U.S.? You can just tell us.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm taking that as a yes.
Okay, so you need to get to Chicago or Kellogg.
Yeah, how hard is it to get to a U.S. job from a European business school, John?
I think it's
particularly if you're not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, I think it's much more difficult.
Yeah, mucho hard.
And Kellogg, is just a funnel for the consulting industry, and I'm talking the top of it, MBB.
Yeah. Okay. So we straightened you out, Kellogg, my friend. I'd really.
All right. Well, good luck to you. And Sandy, another great assessment. Thank you.
Thanks for your expertise.
And for all of you out there, we wish you the best.
Very important announcement. Very important announcement. Harvard Business School has announced that their interview invitations will be sent out on February 1st. Go to their website.
By noon.
Yeah, 12 noon Eastern time, February 1st. That's when Harvard will let you know whether you have been invited to interview. John and I do we've got this great mock interview video called How Not to Blow Your HBS Interview. We've actually got that in 3 or 4 versions, and we'll post a link to that. It's also available on the Poets and Quants website, and will be more so after we finish talking here. And
look it up. And incidentally, for all of you who aren't invited to a Harvard interview, but another one, this video would be as helpful to you as it is to Harvard candidates going to be interviewed.
Yeah, let's finish this off with give you a quick mock interview question. This is classic, and people don't scratch their heads. Okay. Mm-hmm. Could you tell me about your decision to go to NIT, however you say that?
So basically, I want to get to an IIT, but my rank wasn't good enough. Then I looked at NIT. It has a good mechanical engineering program. There were a lot of great clubs for automobile enthusiasts. So that's the reason.
John, give that a grade.
No, don't say you wanted to go somewhere else, but you couldn't get in, so therefore you went to this other place. Say you knew people who went there. They spoke highly of the program. They have a great reputation in mechanical engineering, and you felt very lucky to be able to go there and earn your degree.
Yeah, that's a little better answer. And then if they say it's given the Indian system with the NITs and the IITs, it might be helpful to explain how come you didn't go to an IIT, but I wouldn't start with that. I'd say I was interested in this, I was interested in that. I applied to several schools. I knew people at NIT. The branch I went to had these courses, and my decision was made a little easier by not getting admitted to the IIT. That's acceptable.
Okay.
I wouldn't even. You think he should even say he wasn't accepted? Because here's the thing: isn't it obvious? So why even point it out?
Yeah, it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other. And point it out because it is obvious. It'd be my argument, but maybe you're right, John. Yeah, don't point it out.
Yeah.
And then they may, if they're kind, they may just say, "All right, I get it. You didn't get into the other place." If they ask directly, you go, "Well, they made my decision easy."
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Everyone
There you
else,
go.
get ready for interview invitations coming out from both Harvard and other schools.
And good luck to all of you out there. We hope you get one, and we hope you succeed in your MBA journey. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. You've been watching Fridays with Sandy.